Pure religion, Mike Kraft, take 1.1.
My name is Mike Kraft. I've been married for 14 years. My wife and I have 5 beautiful children. Our daughter, we adopted from Uganda, and 2 of our boys are adopted from foster care locally in San Antonio. I've been blessed to serve as a vocational pastor for 17 years. We planted Mission Community Church in San Antonio. I currently work with the South Texas Alliance for Orphans, and our mission is to educate and equip churches to step into care for vulnerable children and their families affected by foster care. Pure religion to me means, what is God really after? What does God really want from his people? And I think about that a lot. And James says, and uses that word accepts. And, pure religion, or religion that God our Father accepts, is pure and faultless, is this. And I ask myself, are there a lot of things that I'm doing and maybe we're doing as a church? Does God really accept it? Is this really what God wants from me, from us, from our people? And as we're shepherding people and as we're leading people, what does God really want to see? And he's asking about that. He wants to see a display of something that's happened inwardly in our hearts. And he wants to see people who are fully devoted to him and in love with him, and out of that love and out of our relationship with him flows this action and this work that we do. So one of the beauties of my job is I get to connect with other local pastors. And I had lunch with a pastor who's 72 years old, and he and his wife had been praying about this. They have an adopted son who's 11 years old, and he said, you know what? We're going to enter back into foster care, and we're going to foster, and this is going to be our story. My friend looked at me and said, our average congregant is 70 years old, and they've got more time and they've got more resources than they've ever had before in their life, and they're positioned to do something very special in this crisis. And I've seen this little Baptist church galvanized and jump in together to say, hey, we're going to step into this crisis. And they had an informational meeting where 22 seasoned saints came out to be trauma informed, so that they could be willing to welcome children and do a parents' night out at their church, and that they can step into this crisis. And he's told me, man, my people are so fired up and they're so hungry to be able to care for these children, because they know this is what Jesus wants them to do, and they don't want to just sail off into retirement and live easy and comfortable lives, but they want to embrace this in pursuing Jesus together as a church family. We've seen this play out in our church as families have said yes, and as they've said, hey, we don't know what this is going to look like, but we're going to be available. And in our little church plant right now, we've had 27 kids that have been fostered or adopted by families that have been willing. And the growth in these families, the growth in these marriages, the growth in our community as people have wrapped around them and come alongside them to say, hey, we're going to support, we don't even know what this looks like, we're going to support you. And not just that family that's fostered, or that family that's adopted, that's growing and it is becoming more and more like Jesus, and what I see is becoming more and more holy. It's had a tremendous effect on people around them. But I found out when we step into really hard and broken places, there's something that is so purifying. There's something that happens, and it's not easy. It's not necessarily this fun process, but there's something that happens that's so cleansing and purifying, and it causes me to grow in my relationship and my dependence upon him and my desire for more and more of Jesus. And as we help, there is something so beautiful and purifying and cleansing and holy about that this is what pure religion is.